darlings, and welcome to I-VADA, the podcast where we poke about our LGBTQ past and pull out the hidden stories of our communities and give them a right good probing.
From protests and prides to pronouns and poorly judged tattoos, our history is far from straight.
Expect humour, honesty, and the occasional double entendre. There'll be adult themes, there'll be strong language, and a large degree of oversharing.
So grab a brew or a Dubonnet and join us for I-VADA, because our history demands to be seen, heard, and celebrated.
Now, let's VADA the past, shall we? Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the I-VADA podcast with me, Jonathan Mayer, the comedian, and young Sally's joining me. She's butch, she's strapping, she's covered in tool belts. Hello, Sally.
Hello.
Hello. And Colin across the way, looking like a golden god in a mere loincloth. Hello.
Hello, my darling.
Hello, darling. We are here to do I-VADA, the podcast about LGBTQ plus history. We're going to be talking about untold stories, forgotten characters. We want to mix humour and history, supposedly. I mean, I don't know how we're going to do that.
Well, no.
And we're looking at keeping the stories current, reclaiming erased identities, and building a sense of courage and community. Have we got guests, do you think?
We've got some guests.
We've got some guests.
We went out and did some interviews too.
You got a site visit?
Yes.
They let you go places?
They did.
They did. And we've got archive stories, we've got performances. I ought to warn you, for the younger viewers, there might be some language. It might be a bit fruity every now and then. This time, we're going to look at Polari, the mini-language used by gay men pre-1967, pre-legalisation, to disguise what they were talking about. It comes from sailors and showmen, the carnivals, and actors and thieves' cant, and a bit of Italian, a bit of Romani, it's right, everything thrown in.
It's right diverse.
Oh, it's very diverse. And rhyming
Yiddish.
slang, bit of Yiddish, everything's thrown. It's like a casserole, isn't it? Like a jumbo. And it's there as a sort of coded workplace and queer speech to disguise yourself from the surrounding people, and to signal to another gay man that you were in fact a gay man.
And how would you signal to a sailor?
I say, hello, sailor.
Well, there you go.
Hello.
That's not Polari.
No, I having entertained the military, I didn't find the necessity for Polari. I just propositioned them. It worked very well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we've moved on from
We
Polari.
have moved on from Polari. To be honest, I think the thing is that nowadays we're much more aware. So if I go into a room full of sailors and I'm this camp, they know exactly what's going on. Whereas I think there was a naivety pre-1967 that you could kind of go in and be this camp and this flowery, and they just go, oh, he's just flamboyant.
Artistic.
It's artistic. I mean, if you can look at bloody Freddie Mercury and not realise he was gay, I think they'll probably miss me.
Well, you standing outside of Buckingham Palace in your bare skin.
Yes, well, it's been known. Yes, I think it's... Well, the thing is, of course, it gets moved into the mainstream, doesn't it? It starts off with this very specific language, which is used in the South as well. That's the other thing, I think.
Yes.
It doesn't move north. But it becomes known to the general public.
Yeah. So it seems like it was sort of persecuted groups, really,
Yes.
and minority groups, and obviously some cases illegal consequences for that.
Well,
So
we're blathering away as if we know anything. We don't know anything. We have an expert on hand. I spoke to Jez Dolan, well-known expert. Hello. How bona to Vardy Dolly Old Eek again?
Bona to Vardy, your dolly old eek heart face.
Who are you? Tell the punters.
Who am I? Hello, punters. My name's Jez Dolan. I'm a visual artist and a theatre maker. I live and work in Manchester, and we're here in my lovely studio.
It's lovely.
Thank you. It is lovely. At Paradise Works in Salford.
And you did a thing on Polari, didn't you, with John Rylands?
I have. I've worked with Polari quite a lot. In performances, in a theatre play, in visual art.
He's never asked me.
She'll be in the next one, dear. Yes.
So tell me about Polari. What is Polari?
So, strictly speaking, Polari is a sociolect, which is a language type used by a specific group of people. Polari isn't a language. It's less than a language, but it's more than a slang.
Right.
There are, to be precise, 527 words. It's that precise in the Polari canon, and it was used predominantly, but not exclusively, by gay men in England between the 1920s and the 1970s.
Yeah.
But that's kind of to be really kind of concise about it.
So this is allowing a discrete conversation about love, sex, and identity with a view to having the sex, which is used by gay men and performers, I think, mainly. Would you say that?
Yeah, I
In
think
the
so.
60s?
Well, I think there was kind of certain professions that obviously attracted
theatrical
people.
camp. Theatrical camp is a thing, isn't it?
One of the things that it also was, so you could eye up the talent, as it were.
Yes.
So phrases like, "Oh, have you seen the dish over there? And look at that
Or
dish."
Bonromi.
Yeah, have a look at that dish. And, especially when you're passing Jodrell Bank, I mean, have you ever seen a dish like that? What an erection.
So this is somebody, you see, it's an identity, it's a belonging, a sense of belonging when it was still illegal to be part of that community.
I think so. And it genuinely was a secret language. It wasn't now the kind of some of it we know what it means.
It's hard to go back to a point where we don't already know it, where everybody is on because it gets to Round the Horn, which is 1965 to 1968, and is featured when in the sketches of Julian and Sandy, and of course it's hugely popular at that point.
Yeah.
And every Sunday evening it's broadcast into living rooms across the country. And once you somebody said once your Auntie Beryl knows, how nice to have boners if Artie Dolly. It's not a secret language anymore.
No, and it loses its impact, I think. But it changes its function, really. I think that when it becomes more mainstream. I mean, Round the Horn and Julian and Sandy was the first time that I heard it. I mean, I'm far too young to have been born in 1967.
No. Yeah, of course you are.
And but it's been repeated, hasn't it? It's still popular.
Well, I think the ultimate point was they were held in enormous affection, weren't they? So it really alters. Whilst it does compromise the secrecy of the language, it makes the people kind of beloved of the general public.
Yeah.
It changes the positioning of.
And also, while some of it is, quite frankly, single entendre, how they got away with it, I'm not quite
Double
sure.
entendre.
It's still non-threatening.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
still has
And
that
it
camp.
kind of went with that kind of non-threatening atmosphere that you had around that time with like Danny LaRue and John Inman and stuff, is while people were like non-sexual, they were non-threatening, especially gay men, and then they could be laughed at, and then people felt safe in doing that.
Julian and Sandy has quite a lot of sexual content, but
Oh, yeah.
it's done in such a way that it's funny. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also part of the Carry On era.
Yes.
So for the profile of people like Kenneth Williams, obviously he's done other radio shows so he's now entering far more the mainstream. And so whether it's in film or whether it's on the radio, he has a
I wonder what people actually thought, whether there was he's clearly gay, we know he's gay, or whether it was he's not really, he's just doing it,
I mean, I can't think that people thought that deeply, because otherwise it would have been banned.
Yeah.
Quite some of it. Yeah. I mean, it was really kind of out there. It was about, anal sex, quite frankly, most of it. And who's frankly? Anyway. So it wasn't kind of innocent in that way, but that was the only meaning you could get from it.
Yeah. But there was that kind of, we're getting a bit of the in-joke, and that's fine.
I suppose that
as long as it's not explicit, as you said, it's like kind of,
being allowed behind the curtain. People
for now,
always love that, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we go back to Jez?
Let's hear what he's got to say.
So it's a secret language that gay men could communicate with each other without being spotted.
Yeah.
Did people really speak Polari? Do they actually converse in Polari?
Yes, I think so. Although there's the kind of academic research on Polari that's been done is a man called Professor Paul Baker, who is a professor of linguistics at Lancaster University.
It's proper, ain't it?
It's absolutely fantabulosa, Heartface. He did his PhD on Polari, which I think is somewhere in these bookshelves.
They can't see that.
They can't see that. No, it's the radio. It's the wireless, dear. He did his PhD on Polari probably 15 years ago, and as he's a gay man, and was looking what to do with his PhD, and linguistics is quite an academic, book-led, language-led thing. So while his colleagues were hurtling through dusty tomes, he was interviewing drag queens.
Yes. What could be preferable?
He probably had a better time. Yeah.
To my ear, and obviously my ear post 80s, Polari sounds, it's very queer coded. Like you hear somebody speaking it sounds very gay. Do you think it was actually effective as a disguise, or do you think there's two people speaking Polari, or they're being very camp?
It's really difficult to tell. If without having been there at the time, I think. But it was the ways in which I've heard people talk about it. It was more used in gay spaces,
right?
I think, or spaces that were kind of gay-ish.
So you wouldn't be sat on the bus talking about it.
Well, you might do, and I mean it would be interesting to. There was I think like 1980s Channel 4, what was it called, Out and Tuesday or something like that. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
And there were
haze of poppers.
Exactly, yes. There were little snippets of, there was one of two queens on a bus in London talking in Polari.
Yeah.
So the idea was that if somebody was listening in, they didn't understand
how you say. You could be
about.
saying, that's a nice bloke over there.
Exactly. So it functioned. This is what I kind of think is interesting about it. It functioned simultaneously as disguise and identification.
Right.
So if we were having a conversation, we wanted to hide what we were talking about. That's one way in which it works. But also, if you're in a bar, for instance, as you might be, and you fancied the look of somebody,
right,
and you dropped a few words,
bit of Polari to see if they
and either they looked at you blankly, or they came back with some more stuff, and you were away.
Right.
But also, I think at the same time, it felt like, or it feels like, a way of claiming a space as well, I think. So I kind of often think about it, like kind of a break dancing kind of thing. Right. There's a circle of people doing their stuff, and somebody goes into the middle and throws some shapes and does all this stuff.
We've got all the lingo.
I know, just like we used to do back in the day. And it's that showing off, that presenting something. And I think Polari had a feel of that as well. So,
do you mind? We're recording.
Sorry about the banging. Artist Studios, problematic. So Paul Baker, the academic who I mentioned, he says in his PhD that somebody who was really skilled at Polari might know maybe 30 or 40 words.
Oh, right.
Which is not a lot.
No, it isn't, no.
But most people might know a dozen, maybe. Yeah. So it was dropping the few words in here and there to show that you knew it.
You knew it, right. Yeah. And so to identify yourself to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And how important do you think it was that we had a secret language?
Again, it's one of the problems with it. In a way, it's not. I mean, other than Paul's work, it's not been written about at all because it was undercover. Yeah, it was secret. It was code.
Yeah.
So there's very little that's actually written about it, and what there is, it's kind of churns the same old thing out, really. So there's, and of course, the people who did really use it are no longer with us on the whole. There's odd bits of documentary that you can find on YouTube that people talk about it, and they all use the boner to father the eek, father the carts on the boner only, so on and so forth. So there's a few words that people would use, but I think it did have a purpose as identification, disguise, but also this more of an idea of claiming space, of showing off, of going, look what she can do, dear.
Imagine what else she can do, dear.
Oh, exactly, dear. Yeah.
It seems also a very male thing that it's about two men being able to communicate with other. Did women use it?
Yes, there's interviews with women who used it as well. I mean, again, in that period, the way in which it emerges, so it comes from lots of different sources.
Theatrical
camp and something called Polari, which is circus and fairground people who would travel often all over Europe.
It's this very identified group identifying each other.
Very much, and they're all kind of they're all people on the outside as well. It's not your Brideshead Revisited gays who were doing this.
I say, Sebastian, invaded my dolly old Luke.
Exactly. Yeah, they weren't doing that at all, sadly. So it was all people on the outside. outside. So it's one of the original, or the I suppose, linguistics of origin, I suppose, is something called thieves' cant,
Right.
which goes back to the 10th, 11th century.
Yeah.
And is a way that thieves would communicate with each other to go, avoid over there, or go over there, there's loads of great stuff to be had.
Right.
And it would be like coded language that they would use with each other. So, as we said, Polari from Fairground and Circus. There's lots of Italian in there. So Polari is Italian, obviously. So coming from...
You're actual Italian.
You're actual Italian. Thank you very much. She's got your Polari, dear. Travelling Italian show people.
Yeah.
Coming from Europe, coming over here. And particularly if you think that London in the, I suppose, late 19th century was like the biggest, the modern world's biggest melting pot. You know, so all of those different people, all of those cultures were meeting in around London, which was, you know, the world's biggest city at the time. So all those influences were mixing, but they were all on the outside. So thieves, prostitutes, theatre people, you know,
Gay people.
terrible bunch.
Oh, God.
Queer people, obviously. So all people exclude. Oh, yeah, our kind of people.
Our kind of people.
Yeah.
Prostitutes, thieves.
Yeah, all people on the outside. So that's where that kind of came from. Women certainly did use it.
Okay.
But again, you know, the history of queer women is still...
And one stage further back. Isn't
Exactly,
it?
exactly, yeah.
So it definitely crosses into the mainstream at some point. People become aware of it. What is the trigger that makes it mainstream? And
So the phrase, "Oh, Mr. Orno, boner to fard your dolly oldie, do troll in."
Yeah.
So from Round the Horn, which
Yeah.
was a 1960s, I think it started in 63,
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
Something like that. It was on the Light programme, so the equivalent of Radio 4, I suppose.
And they have millions of listeners. don't
It
they?
had about 9 million listeners a week.
Just huge.
Which was, you know, phenomenal in those days. It was Sunday afternoon, and I've talked to older gay men who would, you know, remember it being on, and they would say you would rush home from wherever you'd been, even if you were on a serious cottaging
But the straight people did as well. It wasn't just the gays.
No, it was massively popular.
But it was
hugely.
possibly the first time that an overtly gay character was so popular and so beloved. Because Julie and Sandy were much loved.
They were hugely loved. And the idea was Kenneth Williams and Hugh Paddock. Kenneth Williams, obviously known from the Carry On films, and CRARRION. Exactly. Anyway. And they both came out of the forces in the Second World War, and all the reviews, which, you know, strangely enough, might have been staffed by almost exclusively gay boys at the time. And they had reviews like Soldiers in Skirts, and drag was a massive thing, and it's entertaining the troops and being
Down the fourth layer of the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, all of that stuff. People had to get their fun where they could.
Yes.
So they came out of that. So there was all of those different varieties of slang and underground speech were mixing together. So Round the Horn, a massively popular radio programme. But Julian and Sandy were arresting actors.
Yeah.
And one of the things about them was they were totally unapologetic for who they were. It was obvious what they were.
Yeah.
But there was never any kind of explanation. Every episode, their little episodes, their slots were maybe, I don't know, 3-4 minutes long on each episode, half hour long episode. So every episode was called Boner something.
Yeah.
Boner means nice or good.
Yeah.
From
Who was running a shop?
Italian. So
Tours,
Boner
something.
travel agents,
Yeah.
Boner tours, Boner cruises, Boner bookshops.
Boner drag.
Boner drag. So Boner Morrissey, she's a bit later. So on the Boner cruises, they do this whole long-winded thing about being shipwrecked.
Oh, yes.
And Mr. Horn, who was the straight man, theoretically and metaphorically the
goodness.
straight man, where he was terribly, terribly English like this, and and so he said, "Oh, did you drag yourself up on deck?"
No, we just dressed casual.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So there was the thing about it was some people, I think a straight audience, might have just thought it sounded camp and funny.
Yeah.
And they were very outrageous as characters, so they did all this outrageous voices. But a gay audience would have got other layers of meaning.
Their friend
from
Gordon
it.
and
Gordon at the slipper bath.
Yes, and also there's a choreographer that they know, isn't there?
Reynard Lespoon.
Reynard Lespoon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's camp. There's one episode, Boner Restaurants, where Julian says to Sandy, or the other way around. Oh, get in there, do the washing up. I'm not going there, all the dishes are dirty. Now, dish, of course, could mean attractive younger man, or it could mean...
Plate.
Exactly. Work that one out yourself.
Yeah. Well.
Now, Colin, you're our sci-fi correspondent. It appears in sci-fi, of all things.
Because I've got the longest scarf, so that makes me
Qualified.
definitely qualified for
Yeah.
this. And, again, it's about cultural references, but mainstream cultural references. And obviously, Doctor Who was one of those programmes in the 60s, particularly up until Tom Baker, that people would tune into every week to find out what was going on. And it's the third Doctor, for those of you who would be interested in that. So it's the John Pertwee era. And there was...
He was quite camp by himself, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And very much an ally. Very much an ally. I've watched interviews with John Pertwee where he's just very casually talking about working with people and, their male partners, and it's just part of the culture. So, he was very open, very relaxed. And obviously Russell T Davies wasn't the first person to be working on Doctor Who was a friend of Dorothy. However, in this particular serial of the Third Doctor, which was called Carnival of Monsters, which is a bit like a flea circus, to be honest. So
It's like a what?
a flea circus. The TARDIS gets trapped, it gets shrunken into this flea circus type thing, and there are monsters flitting around inside it. And finally, when they break out, it turns out that they're in a sideshow.
Oh, okay.
So the person who's running this particular sideshow, called Vogue, starts to have a chat, and it's a 1973 who's a bit... this character is a bit flamboyant, and turns to the Doctor and says, "Parlez the carny." So he's asking Doctor Who, "Do you speak our secret language?" And oddly enough, the TARDIS isn't translating it, nor is the Doctor. And it's like, "You are," but it's even kind of Vada the Boni Poloni.
Yeah.
So
But 1973 is really quite late, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
the audience would have known because of
Post
Round the Horn.
Round the Horn, yeah.
I know that Polari is one of those elements of our culture that other LGBTQ people have reclaimed. It's almost like because it's become so much more mainstreamed, and as our culture has evolved, and we are seeing more of that kind of openness and integration, it's got diluted. And I know that there are certain performers who want to kind of go back to and reclaim some of these cultural references that say, no, we're still a special group, and even though there have been changes, don't assume that everything's safe. And certainly if you look at the wider world and kind of the pink baby from across the pond, where there are risks to us all, then maintaining and supporting and reclaiming our identity, for me, is really quite important. Polari is part of that process.
Can we consider the word NAF? Well, what does NAF stand for?
Well, it stands for straight, doesn't it? Isn't that straight?
No.
Rubbish?
Well, not available for...
Oh, not available for fucking...
Yes, I think it was sort of seen as a politer version of fuck off, wasn't it? In that respect.
Yeah.
But I think because naff off was also used in Porridge, wasn't
Yeah,
it? In the TV comedy.
It's using quite a few things,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
and
Other
I think it weirdly became a tamer version of fuck off.
because who else used... what's his name? Oh, Tony Hancock used naff a lot.
Yeah. So it kind of just... I think people forgot the roots of it, and it
Yeah.
just became a mainstream
Or forgot
word.
that it was an acronym. What am I talking about? Letters that mean words.
An acronym.
Acronym. Thank
That's
you very
the
much. Well, we're so eloquent here
We
at
are, we
I-VADA. So really, after the 67 Sexual Offences Act, after homosexuality becomes legal or at least decriminalised, its Polari sort of goes into decline, really, because its role as a secret language is not necessary, or...
Well, Round the Horn.
And also Round the Horn
ruined
has
it, didn't they?
ruined. Well, not ruined, yeah, but
Rendered it
unsecret.
Unsecret, for want of a better word, yes.
Well, and also because we're moving into the era of gay pride, protest, visibility.
Yeah.
And therefore, this sense that we had of hiding ourselves away was very much changing.
Yeah.
So, there was a much more public profile.
So to that extent, it becomes a relic of those those times, it becomes something about oppression, about the time of oppression, and people want to forget it.
And also, I do remember there was a tension between the people who were very involved in protesting and wanting to be very public, and those who were like kind of, oh no, we still need to keep ourselves hidden away. Why are you trying to change things? Why are you moving in this direction? Shh, just keep it quiet. And Polari was very much part of that culture rather than the kind of very visible and very public culture.
I also think that femme gay men and camp gay men have always fallen between two stools on that front, and are not necessarily accepted into the protesty side or the discreet side, because they're neither, are they? They're very visible in a sense.
Yeah.
And Polari is that.
Yeah, there's definitely internalized homophobia against camp, as it were, at that time. And I think Polari was very much associated with that kind of high camp. Because Kenneth Williams going back to
absolutely
round the horn. So I think there probably was a reaction to all those things that were seen as oppressive.
Yeah,
and then the move forward is to be out and proud, outrage, and all that kind of thing is in your face.
Also, I mean, it wasn't a language that women used, particularly women specifically used.
Yeah.
So it's a bit exclusive in that sense. It's sort of white gay men in the south of England.
Yeah,
that's quite a limited group, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. I think probably purposely.
Obviously, to an extent, that's about self-preservation, but it also excludes a lot of people from
and I think
from the movement.
I think people knew one or two words, maybe,
right,
but they didn't really
know all 527. I confess, I don't either.
Have you been goggling?
No, it's what Jez Dolan said earlier. If you were listening,
oh, sorry, I wasn't. I nodded off during Doctor Who.
So some of it, I think, is about also the medium. So we saw how Round the Horn was part of radio, but as we start to see the growth in things like digital media, of mobile phones, of the internet, there is a shift towards, again, communities being able to code themselves and be able to kind of either say you're either with us or you're not. You either get the message or you don't. And there are different groups and there are different ways that that's expressed.
Yeah, I think there's the generational stuff as well, because younger people don't want to be associated with old
cudgers.
Old folks over 35. So that's why that's
emojis and
isn't
all that
it?
sort of
So
memes.
there's text speak, which is a complete mystery to me, I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I even put commas in my text, so that's
I use colons.
That's what the police officer said. So going forward, then, is there still a role for secret language?
Well, I know it's always been being reclaimed as a heritage thing, hasn't it? You've got things like the Polari Bible happening, and people wanting to celebrate those days when people were oppressed and illegal.
And again, I think there might well be a need for secret languages, but it will be for communities who feel that they're marginalised, and that there are risks if they are open.
Yeah.
And public.
Be a different division. It won't be just gay men. It'll be something.
Yeah, and they'll find different ways to be able to create that language and share it with others.
Of course, some words have sort of crossed over community. Like we said, naff has become something, and camp, obviously, and drag. Actually, drag is. Although drag's origins are really shady, aren't they? Like it's dressed as a girl in Shakespeare, but which is nonsense.
Yes.
Where does it come from? Yeah, we don't
I
know
think
where
the
these
sort
words.
of retrospective claiming, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's not really.
So nowadays, of course, we have RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes,
and the language that is associated with that, which I suppose is similar in that, all those various terms that they use on the program,
and now becoming mainstream.
Or now very quickly becoming mainstream, because of course RuPaul's Drag Race has become very quickly mainstream.
Yeah, and also because there's increasing amount of media in which to spread messages and get understanding. So there are more channels to do it, whereas before it was just the radio or the TV. That was it.
Just Radio 4.
Yes, just the BBC. Oh. So let's have a look at some Drag Race terms.
Let's
see what they
that.
mean.
Shall we have a look?
If only we had someone who was camp who could say them.
I can say them. I just don't know what they are.
Oh, well, Colin will translate.
Okay. The first one is shade.
A sly insult. Clever and cutting. She said it was a bold choice. That shade.
And snatched.
Steady.
I know. It worries me, this one. Snatched.
Looking flawless, polished and perfect. Her look tonight snatched to the heavens.
All right then. Gagged.
completely shocked or floored.
That's not how I use that.
When she revealed that outfit, I gagged.
A lot in your mouth. Tea.
Gossip or truth? Spill the tea. What really happened backstage? Oh, Jonathan, I know you can. Sorry.
We're back to gag.
Quite cast away.
Sashay away.
The polite farewell to a departing queen. Sashay away, darling.
Very exciting. That's very exciting. It's a whole new language.
So everybody wants to be a drag queen now, don't they?
No, well, I think there's a genuine. A lot of women do. I think there's a big cultural thing of women watching. Not lesbian. They're there.
Obviously not.
Obviously not. No. But you know, straight women watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Huge numbers.
I've got a quiz.
Go on then.
Right. We'll start with the easy ones.
Go on then.
Bona Tavada, you dolly old eek.
Lovely to see your gorgeous face again.
Excellent. Colin, can I troll round your latte?
Do you want to come round the house?
Right, this is very appropriate.
Yeah.
Nish the chat.
Shut up. How dare you?
Right, Colin. I've Nanti Dinari.
I'm penniless.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Denari. Denari is that's Italian or Greek, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dina.
Yeah. Right. You, slump your Vera down.
Well, I could take a guess at what that means. I don't know.
I've got options if you're stuck.
Sit down.
No. I've got options.
Yes, go give yours.
Take your mother home, drink your gin, or turn the music down to a lower volume.
I think it's the gin.
It is. So it's Vera Lynn.
Oh, I
obviously.
see.
Rhyming
Schlumpy,
slang.
Right.
Thinking
Colin, Vogue's up a ducky.
Focus up a ducky.
Do you want options?
Go on.
Options. Pout to Madonna. Bleach the toilet, or light me a cigarette.
I think it's going to be the last option.
Yes,
It is.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
why is a ducky a cigarette?
I don't know. Ducky. What other words for cigarettes are there? Fag. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it all rhyme with something.
We don't smoke.
Are you ready for your last
Are you ready for
one?
your last one?
Make it dirty, Shane.
Right. Parker's up a funt.
It's clearly filthy. It means get your ass around that. No, it doesn't. It means I can't remember. You've told me this. It says Parker's up. Oh, lend us some money. Isn't
Yes.
it? Lend us some money.
Yes.
It sounds like it should mean
It should be filthy.
Get your ass around that.
But no, it's lend me a pound.
Oh, all right.
So there you go.
A funt is a pound.
A funt is a pound.
Funt.
Funt.
Bob, drink. Let me pound. Get your nose out of my business. That's like.
Nosy Parker, I suppose. That was.
Yeah.
No, but it was yes.
Yes.
So
Have
we
you
are
been
now-
educated and informed?
I feel very broad-minded. Out of that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I feel like I've had my horizons.
We could see
Among
them.
other things.
We could see them widening as
Well, yeah.
as the program develops.
So many people have said that. So wow, now we live in an age of visibility, of being surveilled. So surveillance everywhere. Can secret queer codes exist? Do they need to exist?
Well, maybe in different countries they might do.
Oh, I suppose that's true.
That's not.
Not even in different countries, different cultures. Like
Yeah.
within
Yes,
our own
exactly.
code.
Yeah. So I think there's. I mean, not that I'm au fait with Grindr, but I suspect there's probably secret codes and words and initials for things on all those sort of things. So
I think that's pretty direct, to be honest.
Well, the photographs.
But do you think that it's for cultures as they're beginning to emerge in some cases that will determine that there is this need? Because it is a case of, do we feel safe? Do we feel secure? Do we feel protected? And if not, how do we exist and communicate in a way that allows us the space to be able to be who we are without that threat of suddenly people coming along and basically destroying us?
To that extent, I suppose you can't predict. You can't say, no, it will never happen again. Yes, it will. And it'll be these people, because you can't tell unless it's happening. I mean, you look at the States and the threat to trans people, obviously, and in our own country, actually, trans people. So perhaps there's a scope for it there.
I think that as when you're not part of a group, you won't necessarily know. But in terms of like identities and stuff, there needs to be sometimes new language developed to describe those identities.
Yes, well, we're doing that.
Yeah.
We're doing that, but we're doing it in the open. We're talking.
Yeah. So I think there is a language, because loads of people say, what does that mean? What does that mean? Why do people have to have so many labels? But it's about claiming an identity. And if people don't feel included, then they're going to create their own
create an
community.
identity, yeah.
So, and there's greater scope to find people with who share that identity, obviously with online connection.
Yes, and very niche, I suppose, niche community, or what would have been niche community, in the sense that without the internet, they would be totally isolated individuals. Yes. But actually, with an internet, they can find a connection with each other that probably wasn't possible.
Yeah, and people can self-define now.
And we have seen an an evolution of, how do you recognise people and their likes, their dislikes, and their ilks, whether that's been the hanky code, whether that's been which way you wear your
People
key
screaming
rings.
cooey across the road.
Yeah, and again, all of those different expressions that one has to be able to say, are you in my club? And if you are,
Yes.
which side of the club?
Would you like to come further in?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and people don't define themselves by one identity either. It's not just I'm gay. There's multiple aspects to that now. So
Yes.
people are more discerning,
Specific, really specific about I'm this kind of gay, I'm that kind of gay.
Yeah. So and that's something that there needs to be words for.
Yeah.
Clearly, because they are developing. So if the need wasn't there, we wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult, I suppose, to say if minority communities that we are not a part of, they may have a secret language that we do not know about.
To that extent, I think Polari becomes a rather blunt tool that we don't need specifically as it is anymore. It becomes something much more refined that expresses something much more specific.
But I really value the fact that Polari existed, because there was a point in my life where I felt very alone, and then suddenly, there's a sense of not only belonging, but a secret belonging that made me feel secure and safe, and then kind of embrace the fact that there were other people who were part of a community and being able to move beyond that. So
totally.
for me, even though I wasn't around as part of that community when it kicked off, it has been something really valuable.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I first heard Round the Horn in the 80s, I really thought I was one of the only gay men in the world. I was so isolated where I live. And actually to find there was an entire gay language out there, there's a whole thing that happened 20 years before, which had been popular. That was amazing.
Yeah, because if you depending on where you live and what your family circumstances are, you could have felt very isolated.
I did
then.
feel that. My vicar's son still singing in the choir.
And now,
That's another podcast.
and
Well,
now
I was going to say,
all we have to do is zhuzh up our eyes.
such as they are.
So we're done and dusted then.
Have we
on
done Polari?
I think we've done
We've done
Polari.
Polari. There are only 527 words in the whole language. We've said far more than that.
Sure.
Recently uncovered audio cassette tapes reveal a lost moment in queer history. The failed attempt by the Mobley chapter of the Lesbian Avengers to invade Granada TV studios in 1988.
We present the Lesbian Avengers, Rage of Nylon.
Gather round, sisters, we strike at dawn, and remember, secrecy is paramount!
Bonnie, pipe down. It's 3:30 in the afternoon and my party wall is wafer thin.
Sorry, force of habit. Keep thinking I'm back at Greenham, 82.
1982. Greenham Common, you were not. The only camping you've ever done was on that Muesli for Mullets retreat in the Mendips.
Well, anyhow, we don't want the patriarchy getting a whiff of our plans, especially Reg.
Who's Reg? CID? MI5? Not the WI.
No! MFI. He works on the trolleys, but he's got connections.
Right. Focus. The objective is to infiltrate Granada Studios and get live on air before Corrie.
Oh, I've always had a hankering to visit the Rovers and get my mouth around Betty's hot pot.
Concentrate, please. Method of entry. Any thoughts? Connie?
I say we abseil from the roof like lesbian ninjas.
Do we have equipment? Ropes? We could use my washing line, but I'm none too keen. I don't want my back bedroom knee-deep in damp plaid for the foreseeable.
Well, what about a tunnel like the Great Escape?
Not in slacks, Margaret. No pockets. Where on earth would we put the soil? No, we'll just approach from the front. And Margaret, have you been taking detailed notes?
I think I might have lead poisoning. I licked my pencil in readiness a few too many times.
Where is Maxine?
Oh, she's running late. She left a message on the answer machine. She's had to go to the Dungaree clinic after an incident with a toy poodle. She's having a zit replaced.
I think we need disguises. We don't want to be recognised and put on a special list.
That's right. I was put on a list once. 10 years on and I'm still getting Princess Anne's offal recipe of the month.
The only clothes we've got are from that fancy dressed fundraiser last month, and I think they might be a tad suspicious if Calamity Jane, Elizabeth I, and Alexis Carrington Colby all tip up at reception.
Right, plain clothes, flat shoes, as per normal. I'll see what my sisters in the commune have got.
Sisters? Commune? What commune? Come off it. You rent a semi in Nether Alderley and sublet to your niece, who's a Donna Summer, Kiki D, and Barbara Streisand tribute act called Donna Kiki Babs. We could count as 3, I suppose.
So, that's it for I-VADA this time. If you've enjoyed our little LGBTQ history lesson, do us a favour. Share, subscribe and tell your chums. Available on all regular podcast platforms.
Thanks for listening to I-VADA, and thank you to Gordy for pushing all the right buttons.
I-VADA is a body positive project. Registered charity 1009850. Copyright 2026.
I gave you the exciting bit, didn't I?
know.
And we have to thank our expert this week, Dame Jeswina Dolan of Manchester, who's been very helpful and wonderful interview. Hasn't it, Sally? Bye, Sally.
Bye.
Bye, Sally. Bye, Colin.
Bye.